Hello, I'm Congressman Don Young. We had a good day today, and I say we, they pulled the health care bill off the floor because they didn't have the votes. I was going to vote no. I think I made that perfectly clear because this bill was not a good bill. It didn't do well for Alaska. I'm still all for Obama repeal, Obamacare repeal. I think it has to be done. And I have a proposal that I am putting before the leadership. They may accept it, they may not. That we'll have a simple paragraph that will allow us to take and repeal Obamacare, but the time certain would be 2020. That way we'd have 3.5 years to write a good bill with the other side of the aisle. The way it is now, they didn't participate. We were, very frankly, guilty of that. They were guilty before. So I look forward to today as a victory for Alaska and for the Alaskans that have health care and questions of. For those that are being punished by Obamacare, we still have a chance to go back and do it right, and that's what we're going to do.
Okay, and Congressman, some folks had some specific questions, some reporters, and one of them is, what do you believe are the next steps here on health care legislation?
Well, I think the next steps, as I mentioned, we're going to take a breather, probably work on tax reform, which is good. And then I think if they follow my suggestion, they will have two committees will work on this bill, and probably an ad hoc committee that will work with all the participants in healthcare. I'm talking about the doctors, the nurses, and the patients, and the insurance companies. Will have a chance to put in what they think is the right thing to do and write legislation to make it work. None of these bills, Obamacare nor healthcare, ever address the issue of high cost. It's always about insurance, being insured, etc., but not about the high cost of medicine. And I'm arguing that when you have a third payer, which is an insurance company, there's going to be a high cost because the hospitals, very frankly, will charge the highest rate. And I think it's time that we recognize that and say, okay, what would it cost for cash? What would it cost? And that's would be what the insurance company should pay, as whether the third payer causes the main problems. So I think we're going to come back and we will probably work on this legislation and pass it. It's not and the press is probably going to write up the fact it's a blow to Trump. Well, and Trump really didn't have that much to do with it anyway. It's probably no blow to anyone in the fact there is a difference of opinion. And that's important in the legislative process. Well, let's listen to those differences of opinion and let's come back and write this bill I think is correct, and we'll do it.
So you talked about the legislation here, and you have been working with folks here to improve it. Any comments on that and moving forward in addressing some Alaska-specific?
Well, there's two couple of things. Now, you know, when I first saw this so-called, I don't want to call it Trump care, or it was to be passed to repeal Obamacare, I said, we're not repealing Obamacare. The premiums will be just as high, which are killing my Alaskan workers. We have a lot of Medicaid people, in fact, damaged through this legislation. And those that have signed up for the exchanges, they would be, of course, in limbo. And I told them, let's fix this up, especially for an area like Alaska that's large, isolated, and costs are the highest in the nation. They were writing a bill, very frankly, one size fits all. And so what I'm, again, promoting, that we repeal Obamacare and then have 3.5 years to write a good bill. When we do that, we'll serve the people of Alaska as we were doing in this last 2 weeks.
Many have commented on, reporters particularly, about a report in the Washington Post about Speaker Ryan coming to you on the House floor yesterday. Do you have any comments on that specifically? No,
I've been working with the Speaker. I mean, people got a big deal because he's on his knees. And I've been working with him, trying to help him, telling him what we should do. He was able to deliver on what I think was necessary for the state of Alaska. The size of Alaska, the high cost of Alaska, the PrEP part of it, he was unable to get that done through the committee process. That's why I want this ad hoc committee, working with the two major committees and write a good piece of legislation. And I believe it can be done, and it should be done for this nation. Obamacare itself, as written, because there was no thought put into it, is really breaking this nation. It's hurting the achievers, as I call the achievers. So we're going to do that. I'm confident of it. And like I said, I think it's been a good day for Alaska.
And just, I know reporters would like you to be clear. In its current form today, sir, did you support the legislation?
No, I did not support the legislation. I told them that. I'm very clear about that. Much as I hate Obamacare, I will not support legislation that doesn't improve for the constituents which I serve. And that's my main goal to do so.
Okay, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.